I am always greatly awed that the fulfilment of biblical prophecy is a proven fact of the reality we live in. Indeed, it is a scientifically proven fact of the world in which we live. From scientifically verified and authenticated historical documents originating from great variety of nations and cultures, to veritable mountains of genuine, tested and scientifically dated artifacts, we know the prophecies of the Bible were written down and preserved well before the events so accurately prophesied. What is so awe-inspiring is that the reality of fulfilled biblical prophecy has only one possible logical explanation. It's as the Lord himself declared, "Remember the former things of old, for I am God, and there is none else. I am God, and there is none like me." Declaring the end from the beginning, and from ancient times the things that are not yet done, saying, "My counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure." For this reality bender, we return to that book the skeptics love to hate, because the more they try and prove it is false, the more the science and archaeology they look to proves it to be genuine and true. What is their problem with the book of Daniel? It is that the genuineness and authenticity of the book of Daniel not only bends their concept of reality, it totally shatters it. For it proves not only that a being exists in the universe that can transcend and control time itself, but also that past, present, and future all coexist in a way that we have yet to understand. But that is not possible in an uncontrolled random chance universe, where the present is merely the accumulated result of all the past random chance events, and the future cannot exist as the random chance events that generate it have not yet occurred. In such a reality, the present instance is the only thing that ever actually exists. Accurate foretelling of the future is all throughout the Bible, but it is the detailed nature of the prophecies in the book of Daniel and the fact that we have considerable historical and archaeological proof of their accuracy that makes skeptics so uncomfortable with this book in particular. This reality bender is looking at the prophecy contained in chapter 8 of the book of Daniel, a prophecy that was declared in the 3rd year of the reign of Belshazzar over Babylon, a reign that was to end abruptly along with the empire. Now there's some doubt as to how long Belshazzar reigned, but historical Babylonian and Persian records and archaeology put the slaying of Belshazzar and the defeat of Babylon by the Persian king Cyrus on the 12th of October 539 BC. This means that Daniel had this particular vision and visitation by the Archangel Gabriel absolutely no later than 540 or 539 BC. So we'll use this as our reference point. Now, as usual, a 10-minute video or two is not going to give me too much time to go into great detail, but the information I give can be used by any viewers to investigate further for themselves. Both the prophecy and the ensuing history are well documented all throughout the internet. About the only thing you may have difficulty finding is discussion about the prophecy of the 2,300 days. Now, some people think this is a reference to something still yet to come. But as the video will show, this too has come to pass into history. In the video, I will step through the things Daniel recorded as revealed to him by the Archangel Gabriel in 540-539 BC. Now Daniel, like all the prophets of the Lord, never claimed he had the power to see the future, but that these things were shown to him. I will, at each step, show how official authenticated world history records the exact fulfillment of the things pre-recorded centuries earlier by Daniel. As usual, I will leave it up to you to be the judge of whether or not Gabriel was indeed a being familiar with the future history of the world, and to contemplate just how that realization will bend your understanding of the true reality in which you live. Much as we still do today, many prophecies of the Bible represent empires by specific animals. Even today we have the bear of Russia, the leopard of Africa, the lion of Europe, the dragon of Asia, the eagle of America, etc. Now in this vision of Daniel, we see the ram representing the Persian Empire and the young goat of the then yet to come Greek Empire. As with many other prophecies throughout the Bible, the horns on these animals represent emperors, kings, and other leaders of these empires. Horns being the symbol of strength and power in the customs of the time and cultures that then prevailed. Daniel first reveals that in the 3rd year of the reign of the Babylonian king Belshazzar, around 540 to 539 BC, he had a vision, a dream, in which he saw a ram with 2 horns, one larger than the other. Now while this ram was pushing and defeating others to the north, south and west, a male goat with one single large horn came from the west, which is the direction Greece and Macedonia is from Babylon. And this goat thoroughly defeated and destroyed the ram. But at the height of its strength, the single horn was broken, and 4 separate horns grew in its place. Then, from one of these horns, a 5th horn grew, and became great, challenging, defeating, towards the south and the east, and towards Israel itself. It arrogantly challenged even the hosts of heaven and the prince of the host, and took away both the daily sacrifice by way of transgression and the sanctuary, the temple in Jerusalem, but only for a total of 2,300 days, which is approximately 6 years, 3 months and 18 days, give or take a few days for leap years, varying days in the months, etc. Now the significance of the time and that removal of the daily sacrifice was by way of transgression of the Mosaic law will become apparent later. Daniel freely admits he had not the slightest idea what this vision meant, but records that afterwards Gabriel was sent to him to explain what it was all about. It is in this explanation we find the humanly impossible foretelling in considerable detail of what was for Daniel distant future world history. Now, Gabriel explained that the ram with the 2 horns represented the kings of Media and Persia, which we now know as the Persian Empire, which defeated and replaced the Babylonian Empire as the rulers of the region. Now, history tells us that the Persian Empire was indeed an expansionist empire intent on world conquest, and indeed after Babylon it continued to push not only south towards Egypt, but also north and west towards Greece and Macedonia, as Daniel's vision foretold. Now, the rough goat, that's a male goat, Gabriel explained is the king or empire of Greece, and the large horn its first king. Now, secular history records that in 335 BC, a young Alexander the Great, having succeeded his father to the Macedonian throne, united the entire Greek Empire under him to effectively become the first king of the Greek Empire. Now, in 334 BC, a year later, that's some 205 years, that's 2 centuries, after Daniel's vision and Gabriel's explanation, world history records that the first king of Greece began his attack and eventual defeat of the Persian Empire from the west as prophesied. Now, an interesting detail of Daniel's vision is that this rough goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth and touched not the ground. Now, perhaps it's nothing, but it's intriguing to note that the history informs us that an important and central part of the Greek army was a vast cavalry unit called the Companion Cavalry. Now, history tells us that Alexander the Great rode and commanded his army at the head of this massive companion cavalry. His feet, quite literally, did not touch the ground as he expanded his empire across the face of the earth on horseback. Again, it's perhaps nothing, but just intriguing to note. But something more concrete history does confirm is that at the height of victories and achievements of a mighty empire, this young first king of Greece died of a sudden illness at age 33, leaving no heir, precisely as Daniel prophesied 2 centuries before. Now, at the height of its strength, the horn was indeed broken. But what of the 4 horns that grew in its place? Now, Gabriel explained that these were 4 kingdoms that would arise from the first king, but not with the power of the first king. Again, secular world history records that as Alexander died without heir, there was none powerful enough to keep the empire together, and it was broken up into 4 kingdoms, each under the control of one of Alexander's generals. It is from the kingdom of one of these, namely Seleucus, that the troublesome 5th horn would emerge.